What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Madness University. I'm Nick, here with LZ, and today we are going to talk about rarity in sports cards and how to determine if that card or set that you're either holding or eyeballing is actually rare or not. So, LZ, you're kicking this one off.
Ooh. So we're gonna talk about I'm just thinking of all the pretty colors that people love to go collect and they think that they're valuable because they're shiny and they're pretty. But little do they know that 100,000 of these cards were printed, or
They might not even
200,000
know
or
that number. Yeah.
300,000. They might not. So I think when you're starting out, it depends. It all depends on what you're trying to do in your collection, right? If you just want to chase cards because they are pretty and they're gorgeous and you love the look of them, or even you just love a player, then so be it. But if you are going for scarcity, if you're going for kind of where can I maximize my value, you got to start looking at print runs. So wherever you can find information on print runs. A really good example is the recent triple autograph of LeBron, Steph Curry, KD, that Topps Now card. The great thing is that Topps, once all the orders were in, actually published how many prints they were going to do of that card. Now, that card without the autograph, I'm saying, I know there's this special autograph that you could win, but the card without the autograph, they posted it. And it was something, I think it was almost 600,000. I want to say it was like 580,000 of that card. So you definitely want to go and look for that information. There are websites that do post it. So start there. Secondly, you want to go to pop reports. PSA has a great pop report. So you want to go and look there. Like how many of this card have even been graded? Start there, right? Then how many PSA 8s, how many 9s, how many 10s have been graded? That is going to give you an idea. Now, I'm only using PSA, right? But that's going to give you an idea of kind of what's out there. So if you come across, like, let's say you're hunting down a Jordan Love rookie card and you're at a show and you see a PSA 10 and you feel like it's a good price and you jump on their pop report PSAs and you find out, oh, there's actually only like 3 PSA 10s of this Jordan Love card. Well,
Right.
you know what? I'm going to go scoop that up because that is rare. So those are definitely kind of two of the obvious ones, Nick, that I would start at. The other one, we talk about how we're like set collectors and we're trying to get autographs. There are websites that will tell you like how big the checklist is as well. So if you're
Mm.
going after a set, if it's, well, you could argue either way, right? If it's got a huge checklist, that's probably even more difficult to collect, or if it's a small checklist, maybe it's a little more approachable for you. But I would say those are kind of the three areas that I would start with to understand if something's rare or scarce. What
Yeah,
are your
before
thoughts?
before I dive into what I'm up to with this question,
Hmm.
just be careful with pop reports because a lot of old stuff is in these like blue flip labels and they're not really in the pop report, especially autograph stuff. So it may say like one pop of one for like a
Hmm.
player in like a 69 set, but there might be like four or five in existence. They're just in like a different slab or Beckett slab too. So it could be like an invisible thing. But all right, so people by now know I'm a little bit of a detective, especially on this channel, and I could dig things up and I could find people. And I actually take this in a different direction. The tactical stuff is great, but I try to be a bit more clever, like in trying to find information, and it's not that difficult. So one of the sets I'm after is we all know about Skybox Series 1, 1990 cards, right? Super popular, super overprinted, but there's a Skybox prototype card that is actually exceptionally rare. Nobody knows how rare that is. Nobody knows how much they've made. Even I don't know, but I'm going to tell you it's probably about as rare as 84 Star, which I'll talk about in a second.
Hmm.
And so I'm trying to get that set signed because I think it's super special. And there aren't many of these. The reason I know is I actually went on eBay and somebody was listing the whole prototype kit, like the actual suitcase, marketing materials, the Jordan card, everything for a hobby shop. And this went out to a certain number of hobby shops. So you can start to extrapolate out. All right, here's the set. Here's the number of hobby shops. It's almost like for the audience, this is like a management consulting 101 exercise. You think to yourself, okay, how many hobby shops are in Massachusetts? Okay, maybe there's 20. How many millions of people are in Massachusetts? Let's say there's 1 million. So now you know there's 20 hobby shops per 1 million people. You extrapolate that out over the United States. Now you have a number of hobby shops over the millions of people that existed in 1989 when this came out, and you can come up with a rough estimate. It's a fun exercise to do with anything. So you can start to figure out how many of those exist, and they're pretty damn rare either way.
Nick,
which
what
is
do
why,
you what is your guess? What is your guess? How many do you think, or your analysis? Because you've done it. I
yeah,
know you
I've done
have.
it a few thousand tops
A
per
few
card.
thousand.
So we're talking it's
Mm.
probably rarer than 84 star because 84 star is like 3 to 5.
Yep.
And this is rarer than that. And it's pretty nostalgic for a lot of collectors. That set, very, very nice photos. And I'll tell you this: there's announcer cards in there that are even rarer. Like there's an Ahmad Rashad card. That thing's like it's like $1,000 on eBay. Sold.
Is it
It's
really?
crazy.
Oh my.
And oh man, it's tough. I
Gosh.
need my buddy Steve's got one, and I want to get it signed by Ahmad. And he's putting the screw. You just can't find these cards even on eBay. So
Interesting.
actually, if anybody in the audience has prototype cards, please hit me up. I will do a deal on them. But anyway, so I do some sleuthing. Same thing with 84 Star. You go to interviews. You go to public interviews with the creator of the Star cards, and he tells you how many were made, how many were destroyed, how many were in each run, how many were counterfeited. And you're not going to find that in a pop report. You're not going to find that in a nice, neat place. You're going to have to dig a little bit. AI is your friend. You could try to have Google Gemini scrape YouTube videos and tell you, details behind cards and card sets, but just, dig a little deeper. And that's kind of what I do, just to widen things when I'm really researching something to go after.
Yeah, those are great examples. Nice.
Cool. All right,
Nice.
pop quiz. It's my turn to ask you
Uh-oh.
something.
Uh-oh. I'm
This has only
nervous.
got one answer. This should be a quick one. I've got my answer
Oh,
already.
It's got so wait a minute. So this isn't an opinion. There's an actual right answer to this. Oh,
There
great.
is because
Okay.
it's your opinion and it's
All
your
right.
answer.
Okay.
So we're both children of the 80s. It's a lot of great candy in the 80s, okay? A lot of good stuff that's not around anymore. What is your favorite piece of candy or something like that from the 80s that no longer exists?
Oh boy. All right. It actually
Or it can exist, but it just doesn't taste the same.
it came to my head right away. When I think of the 80s, I think about like how much we just got away with. Like in the 80s, you used to go to like a restaurant down the street in town and you'd be waiting for a seat and there would be a cigarette vending machine right next to you.
Oh yeah.
And you can just put in some cash, pull out the cigarettes. So the piece of candy that I remember the most in the 80s was it actually wasn't the candy cigarettes. That's the one that everybody thinks about. It was the gum cigarettes.
Oh, okay.
The gum cigarettes had some powder in them. Like it was just like, I don't know, it might have
Oh.
been like powdered sugar or
Oh,
something.
gross. Yeah.
And you would blow it out and you would actually look like you were smoking while you were eating your
Oh my
yeah.
God. I remember those. I
So
remember that.
That's the one. I don't know. That just came to my head like
All right.
immediately when I think of the 80s. What is yours, Nick?
Oh man, it's came out in 1988. I did some research because I'm so
Oh.
sad they don't exist anymore. Shark Bites, man. There was no gummy better than Shark Bites. You had like
Ooh.
these the great white shark bite and all these
The gr-
things. It
Yes.
just hit different. There was probably 50 chemicals in it.
Mhm.
Holy crap, when I had that in my lunch bag in the late 80s.
Yeah, that was one that you could buy at the supermarket and you get like little packages of them to
Yeah,
throw them
yeah,
in your your lunchbox.
They tried
That's
to
right.
remake them, but much like many things, like Big League Chew, yeah,
No.
it's still around. It doesn't taste as good as it
No,
was in the 80s.
doesn't hit the same, Nick.
It doesn't it
Doesn't
doesn't
hit
have
the
all the
same.
red dyes and everything.
No.
Oh
No,
man,
it doesn't.
awesome. All right, cool. Let's put this
All
one
right.
to bed. That was
All right,
fun.
bye everybody.